frankly put, the last significant bit of my life, I've been smoking cigarettes with my hands. I mean, like, every once in a while, I've smoked a cigarette with, like, a fork or something like that kind of thing, but most of the time I'm smoking cigarettes with my hands, so I guess that's why it feels so natural. I mean, like, if somebody had always been smoking a cigarette with a fork or with rusty pliers or with chopsticks, and they had never smoked a cigarette with their hands, I think this might feel a little bit unnatural to them. But since this is something I'm so used to doing, and also since these are my hands, I just have full control of my hands are, well, not the most dexterous by any means, but, I mean, like, they're not dexterous either, but since they are my hands, I just have full control of them, and it's just quite easy to smoke a cigarette with my hands, frankly put. Is it easier to smoke a cigarette with my hands than to smoke a cigarette with something like, let's say, a fork, chopsticks, a rusty pair of pliers, maybe a Leatherman, a knife, a skillet, a frying pan, a light bulb, a window, a car, the earth? Is it easier to smoke cigarettes with my hands than with any of those other things? You know, I would have to say, believe it or not, yes. I would have to say, believe it or not, yeah. Wild. Smoking a cigarette with your hands. Yeah, it really is one of those things where it just feels so natural. At least to me, it just comes very natural to me. Maybe it's because I've had lots of practice like, I've been practicing literally for years just for this video. I've been practicing ever since I first started smoking cigarettes. Ever since I had my first cigarette when I was like 16, almost 17 years old. You know, I've been smoking cigarettes with my hands my whole life. I have been practicing so much for this video today. And honestly, the practice really has paid off. It really has paid off. Because this feels so natural, this feels so easy to do, it's wild. But one thing I've just realized is that I've only been smoking this cigarette with one of my hands today. I need to smoke with both my hands, because the title of this video is Smoking a Cigarette with My Hands, plural. So I gotta switch my cigarette to my other hand. And I'll acknowledge, it doesn't feel quite as natural to smoke a cigarette with my left hand. I am right-handed, and I do generally smoke cigarettes with my right hand, but every once in a while I'll flip one over to my left hand. But it just doesn't feel quite as natural, I'll acknowledge. And I think that's really down to two main factors. One, I'm right-handed, and two, I just haven't practiced smoking a cigarette with my left hand nearly as much as I have with my right hand. Honestly, could be interesting to practice smoking a cigarette with my left hand a little bit more. Could be interesting to do that, frankly, but how would I rate this experience where I'm smoking a cigarette with my hands against smoking a cigarette with anything else? A cigarette extender, it's kind of smoking from. How would I rate this experience versus any other way to smoke cigarettes? You know, this is pretty solid. This is a pretty solid experience in my personal opinion. I mean, like, it just feels so natural. This feels so normal to me. And it's just something that, well, frankly put, I'm very much used to doing.